Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Tabletop Simulator and Star Wars Rebellion. This will be the final episode of the series, and I will share my thoughts about the game once we're done playing today. So, a quick recap of how things are looking. There are a handful of Rebel worlds, thanks to some well-timed invasion missions. But there's also quite a few that remain loyal to the Empire. We are rapidly reaching the point where a well-timed reputation card could actually win the game this turn. So we're gonna have to see what happens. So first of all, the Empire isn't really all that close to finding the Rebels. And that is really unfortunate for them. Oh, did I get the last round here of Alderaan and Geonosis? I think I did. I did. So as of right now, they have no idea where the rebellion is. But we'll worry about that once the rebels have assigned their leaders. So what do the rebels want to do this turn? They'd love to accomplish this mission. Now, they've got a couple of ways where they can just like pop out of nowhere. And all they need is a couple of units on Coruscant, and they will actually be able to collect this last objective and win the game. Assuming that the Empire doesn't find the Rebel base by the end of this turn, which, let's face it, they probably won't. Is there a reason not to do that? Oh, I can't use these because it contains an Imperial unit, namely the Stormtrooper. I could try lead the strike team. And that could be enough. The problem is the moment we go for Coruscant is the split second when they realize I have that particular objective. Because otherwise there's no point in going for Coruscant. Because you can't actually... what's the word I'm looking for? You can't actually capture Coruscant. It's Imperial, it's loyal to the Empire for the whole game. But this could be done. I do like contingency plan. That could be quite handy, but for right now, I don't think there's a lot of benefit to doing that. Man, I mean... we do need to try to rescue Mon Mothma. And unfortunately, I don't have any rescue cards right now. Which is very unfortunate. We could plan the assault and say throw our Mon Cala cruiser, some Y-Wings and a couple of X-Wings, maybe even the Corvette, to attack Mandalore or even Kessel. The longer we can keep the Empire on the back foot, the better the chances are that we'll actually win this thing. And the real big benefit of hitting Kessel is it basically stops them from trying to take Nal Hutta or move on Mon Calamari. So I actually kind of really like that idea. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick plan the assault. As one of our missions. I am going to try lead the strike team just because this is a guaranteed victory if we're successful. I do also want to try to build another alliance because the more places we have loyalty, the easier this game becomes. And we'll assign Leia to that job. Oh, I could use Chewie to save there. What kind of mission could I do on Ard Mantell? None, really. Unfortunate, but it's what it is. We're also going to do a hit and run in Kessel. Using Chewie. Because if I can take out these TIE fighters, that leaves them solo, destroyer versus the fleet I'm going to bring. And I don't see the Empire winning that fight. I just don't. Okay. As the Rebels, I'm comfortable with the missions I've assigned. Now it's their turn. On the Empire. What can we do here? I think we need to get some probe cards. So I'm going to go ahead and assign Gather Intel. And if I remember right, this is a resolve, right? No, it's an attempt. It is an attempt. So we're going to assign Colonel Yularen to that mission. That's a pretty important one we would like to succeed. Okay, next mission. Imperial propaganda is actually really strong because it effectively makes all rebel loyalty neutral. And playing it somewhere like, say, this system and making Bothawi and Nal Hutta neutral would definitely help us out, or at least they could. I've got this big old Super Star Destroyer, though, and I definitely need to make sure that we do something important with it this turn. I just don't know what. Like, taking Kashyyyk is definitely possible. Our biggest issue right now is that I don't know where the rebel base is. I need some help, and that's I'm hoping that the probe droid thing will get us some answers there. I'm destroying Hoth just to make Bespin loyal seems like kind of a waste. Display of power, which would basically make any neutral system, any rebel system, an imperial system, could be really strong, especially with somewhere that they can't get back to easily. And I think doing that on Ord Mantell makes a ton of sense, actually. Because first of all, it's a good system to have. It gives us Star Destroyer, it gives us assault carriers and ATSTs, and I've been hungering for both. But more importantly, it would then help me figure out if there's any rebel forces there. So I plan to do display of power here on Ord Mantell. And that is a intel mission. I'll use the Emperor to do that. Boba Fett stopping them from activating a system is really strong. The question is, which system am I most afraid that the Empire would, that the Republic would try to use? Like, okay, let's be real for a moment here. If I had any inkling that they had the objective card that they do, I would send everything to Coruscant. But I don't know that. Which is always the problem, that I don't know that. Boba Fett? Where? Like, catch them by surprise is pretty incredible. As, like, a devastating attack, but I don't have any one system that I really think is worthwhile throwing at things. Like, I could go jump Felucia right now. Using... fuckhead McGee there. What's his name? Ozzel. I like my name better. Or we could jump to Megiddo. We've got a bunch of options here. Oh, wait, what if we did that? So, let's look at our probe map. There's only one section of the galaxy where there's lots of planets in one general area that we don't know very much about. So hitting Megiddo now from Mandalore is actually really smart. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and play Catch 'em by Surprise. Oh, that card is gone because I used that already. And I'm going to place you on Megiddo. And then I'm going to bring over the Super Star Destroyer, AT-8, ATST, 2 Stormtroopers, and how many TIE Fighters can I take along? They have 8. So I can easily take all of these TIE Fighters. And hell, another Stormtrooper would be fine, because it's going to be hard for them to get there. And now I know there's no orbital base on Megiddo. But most importantly, this is an important way to get some more information. And it's something that the rebels can't, like, counter. They just have to eat it, which is great. Okay, other missions I'd like to use. Now, important thing to remember here. The rebel base is not a system. The rebel base is just the rebel base. Is there any one region that has lots of places with rebel loyalty? I mean, I could do it in Megiddo, and then that would trigger Megiddo and Ord Mantell to become loyal to the Empire, or at least neutral. I'd have to actually gain loyalty on Ord Mantell to rule it out. That is an important thing to consider as well. I want to move the Death Star, but I don't necessarily want to use it yet. I mean, I could. I could just wipe out Hoth just for the sake of not having to worry about it. So I will go ahead and apply Super Laser Online. And we'll use General Tog for that. And then I guess we'll do Rule by Fear. I don't quite know where I'm going to do it yet, but we're definitely going to consider it. And Rule by Fear is punchy time? No, it's intel time. We'll use Vader for that. That's only with 3 leaders to do stuff with, so that seems good. Alright. So, Rebel Scum. I'd like to hit Kessel twice if we can manage it. Oh, which is the one that has the thing here? This is it. Perfect. So first we're going to send Chewie to Kessel. Requires 2 fists. Chewie has 3. Do they care enough to stop this? I don't think they do. I don't think they would care enough to give them Boba Fett. So we're going to go ahead, and the Empire's going to let it happen, and they're going to choose to destroy the 2 TIE fighters. Which is definitely weird, right? That is not something you would expect most Rebel players to do, and instantly has me concerned. Where are you, stupid boxes? Oh, you know what? I don't have to put them back in the boxes, do I? Because it automatically has infinite. So as long as I delete it, we'll be fine. So if I go, boop, perfect. Okay, the Empire's turn. The Empire is going to trigger Gather Intel. And they're going to go to Kashyyyk. It doesn't really matter where he goes. Now, the ultimate question here is, would the Rebels like to oppose this mission? And here's what my concern is as the Rebels. There's 15 cards in the probe deck, right? I don't know how many systems they know about. But if this mission succeeds, you're going to get 1, 2, 3 probe droid cards. Is that a huge amount? No. Now, obviously, if they end up getting, say, Ilum and Dathomir, we're going to be in real trouble next turn. But they also might get 3 probe droid cards that don't matter to them. I don't think it's worth, as the Rebel player, opposing this mission when there might be a more dangerous mission coming up. Maybe that's a mistake, but we're just going to let it happen. And so they're going to get to draw, I believe it's 3 probe cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And I got Alderaan, Geonosis. Wait, what the fuck? No. Where are these probe droid cards we drew? Game? Where did you put them? I think they just mixed in here with everything else. Maybe? Okay, I already knew that, Okay, we did get something very important. Ilum and Ord Mantell. I didn't think it just put them in weird spots. Okay. That's very, very interesting. Bespin. I mean, we already blew it up, so... Okay, we know they're not on Utapau. One of those are the three that I just drew. Maybe. I know they're not on Yavin. Have I just been ignoring these like most of the game? I know they're not on Hoth. I know they're not on Dagobah. I know they're not on Corellia. I know they're on Genos. I know they're not on Alderaan. Okay. So, by not paying attention, which is entirely my own fault, there's a real chance they could be in Dantooine or Dathomir. Because there's not a lot of point to going to a system that's not remote with the Rebel base. It's not like it's a bad idea, but it's just not going to work out for you most of the time. And so this means next turn, there's really very little reason not to say visit one of these two worlds and see what happens. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens, but that's very interesting to me. Okay. And done. Remember, the Rebels don't know what probe droid cards they drew. Could they take Coruscant right now? Remember, they don't have any airspeeders at the Rebel base system. It would only be 4 Rebel troopers versus 1 Stormtrooper. And you'd have to like your odds in that scenario, right? Oh, since she lost her ring, the C-3PO card should be deleted. Because the ring got lost. Man. Okay. If we accomplish this by the end of the game, I win. So there's basically two strategies here. One is to go ahead and make the realm with Han Solo right away. They do have Boba Fett, so they could oppose the mission, but I'd get 2 extra dice. I feel pretty good about our chances of succeeding. If that mission doesn't succeed, though, I have a real problem. And that problem is I don't know where they're going to go next. Like, going to Dantooine is a little bit wasteful, but it's not so wasteful that I wouldn't want to do it. The thing is, they're going to get to play after me, no matter what happens. And Boba Fett isn't used in combat. So I can reasonably assume that Boba Fett will stay there unless you use it to oppose a mission. We're going to go ahead and reveal somebody. I could just go take Felucia using, say, Lando. And that's actually kind of smart. Because, right, I'd only be basically using one Corvette and one airspeeder. And I get another planet. And that's one more world that the Empire has to worry about being the Rebel base. Yeah, it makes too much sense. Lando. We're going to take a Corellian Corvette and an airspeeder. And now we have a foothold on Felucia, which, if nothing else, makes it harder for them to take it. I think that's fine. Empire. I now know that there's basically nothing in this part of the galaxy that's really worth destroying with the Death Star. So I'm going to use Grand Moff Tarkin, and we're going to go to Sullust, and we're just going to move the Death Star. That was a very boring turn, but it was an important turn. Let's reveal this system now, which lets us gain Rebel loyalty, and we get to roll extra dice if there's Rebel units there. And this is my way to basically take over Felucia. Now, the Empire is going to be like, why would I care if you can get another Rebel trooper? Go for it. And they're going to say, thanks, mate. But this is now Rebel loyalty. That is it for the Rebel player's turn. The Empire's not going to use display of power. And they're going to want to do this somewhere where they think the Rebels could be. But are not already. And I think Ryloth is the perfect place to use it. So, that is what we're going to do. We're going to send the Emperor over to Ryloth, and we're going to try to take it for the Empire. This is an intel action. And I do have Admiral Akbar, but he's so good in space combat, I'd kind of like to keep him in case we decide to make the attack on the on the Star Destroyer here. So we're just going to let that happen. And this becomes then Imperial loyalty. And we now know that the Rebel base isn't there. Cool story, bro. Empire is done. The Rebels are running out of time not to make this move. You can still add a leader even if there's another leader in there, right? Oh no, only if you don't already have one there. I see. Okay. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and play Yon Dodonna. And he is going to come over here. Or do I keep this one in reserve? Here's the thing, though. This is a way to instantly get ships on the system with a Death Star. And that could be a win. Because it's as many ships it's as many units as you want. No. I've changed my mind. I am not revealing that. I'm going to save it. Plus, it fucks with fucks with the Empire, and that's always a good sign. That is going to either have to move more units, or I have to reveal Han Solo's mission. Like, yeah, okay, I could move a bunch of X-Wings to Naboo. It's not the dumbest move, and I guess it does delay things a bit. I think I will use Akbar, and we'll go ahead and move all these X-Wings to Naboo. Just for funsies. Turn done. Next, we go ahead and reveal... Oh no, I don't want to reveal Super Laser Online. I don't want to destroy... I don't want to destroy Sullust. No thank you, game. So I will not be revealing that mission. I could reveal this mission. But there's always value to moving units. So we're going to use Sontar Fe. Or Sontar Fel, rather. I need to decide where I would like to move to. I don't really care about Alderaan. I'm not going to bother going there because I already know it's not the Rebel base, and it's only worth the Stormtrooper, basically. Oh, I can't... I couldn't pull units out of Kashyyyk if I did that. I think I'm okay with that. We're going to use... What's-his-face? Sontar Fel, and we're going to go to... Mallister. Do you have any other units I might want to consider moving? Because the longer I take, the better. Like, taking Geonosis would be nice, but I don't have the resources to do that. I mean, I can move more ships out of Mon Calamari, maybe move them to the Seleucami system, and the value behind that is... Look, there's no benefit to keeping this giant fleet in Mon Calamari. There just isn't. I wouldn't attack the planet, I'd just move the ship. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and use Obi-Wan, and we're going to move like so. Turn complete. Now this is kind of what I was hoping wouldn't happen as the Empire. I was hoping to have this as my ace in the hole. But I can't use Boba Fett to move units, and I don't want to destroy Sullust. So basically my options are pass, and thus lose, and thus this would come back later on, or... Fuck. Is there any value destroying 2 units elsewhere in the galaxy? Like, sniping the airspeeder from Mon Calamari could be a pretty interesting play. This is where the real... I think the real tension, the good tension in the game comes from. If the Empire knew what the Rebels were sitting on, I think the Empire would be making a move right now. But they don't know that. They know they have Boba Fett to oppose certain kinds of missions. They have him in their back pocket. And they can't use Boba Fett for anything else. So the question is, does the Empire waste this card... Oh wait, Rule by Fear is the one that gives you loyalty. Oh, okay. Then this is actually fine. Let's do this. So, we can attempt this anywhere that has 1 Imperial unit, and we can try to gain loyalty there. I mean, we can make a Naboo fully loyal to the Empire. That would be quite a nice thing to have. Make Utapau neutral. You know what? Geonosis Loyal gives us another AT-AT. I think that is the best choice. So we're going to send Vader to Geonosis. This is an intel mission, and General Reekin isn't terrible at it. They're going to say, sure, we'll commit Reekin. We'll oppose this. And so it's going to be 2 for Vader, 1 for Reekin. Clear. And we'll just do 2 black dice, 1 red die. That's 2 successes for Vader and 1 for Reekin, so this happens. Geonosis is now loyal to the Empire, and we can scan for Rebel loyalty. Now, of course, we could have used that, actually, on a different world, but you have to have, like, Imperial loyalty, not neutral loyalty. And there wasn't any place, I don't think. No, Nope. That's fun. So that is the Imperial player's turn. Now, the Rebels have either the Rebels have to pass on this mission, or they have to activate it right now. They're going to activate it, and they're going to lead the strike team. And we're going to go to Coruscant. And the Empire's going to oppose it. And this die roll is not extremely important. Han Solo does get 4. He gets 4 dice as opposed to only 3 for the Empire. That is by no means a guarantee. This could literally be the game on this throw of the dice. Oh no! I believe specials are worth 2 in skill tests. Oh my gosh. Opposition here. Yep, a specialist, 2 successes. That dice roll just saved the Empire. And so it fails. Oh my word. And the Rebel player's like, no! Their turn is complete. The Empire doesn't want to take any actions. This isn't worthwhile. He's just going to hit pass. And we're going to continue the refresh phase because they can't play either of their objectives. Wait, did it discard the mission? Oh, no, it didn't. It put it back in his hand. Okay. Let me just make sure it's still there. It is. Great. The Imperials do have to discard a mission. That is true. Ooh. I will discard Hunt Them Down. I don't think it's that great a card for us. So you can put that there. Okay, now before we deploy any units, I need to check all these worlds. Malster, Kashyyyk, Cato Neimoidia, Ilum, Ord Mantell, Bespin, Utapau, Yavin, Bothawi, Megiddo, Hoth, Dagobah, Corellia, Geonosis, and Alderaan. Did I not get my 2 probe droid cards? That can't be right. Oh, you know what it might be? I wonder if you don't get the probe droid cards until after you build or deploy units. No, I should have gotten... Yeah. Why did I not get any new probe droid cards? Okay. So we are on round 7 right now. I should have a total of 14 probe droid cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Are there 2 cards missing? Because I also drew 3 cards. I should have a total of 17 cards. I'm just doing this in case I just miscounted. Okay, I am missing 2 probe droid cards. So I'm going to draw those bad boys. Or am I? Or maybe not. When does the turn marker move? Did it just move? Or... does it move? No, yeah, it moves right before you deploy units. So the turn marker's already moved. So I should have 2 more probe droid cards. I think. Did I draw probe droid cards and just put them in some weird place? Or I don't think so. Yeah, I need 2 more probe droid cards. Because it should be the number of turns, 14. So 7 times 2 for 14. Plus I got 3 cards out of that mission I played. So I should get 2 more probe droid cards. 1, 2. Castle and Ryloth. Well, that's not telling me anything I didn't already know. But at least I have the appropriate number of probe droid cards. I'm going to do that just so that doesn't happen again. Okay. We're going to put the ion cannon on the rebel base. Because that's kind of important. We're going to put the Corellian Corvette in Felucia. And I'll put an airspeeder on Felucia as well. And then I'm going to put a rebel transport on Nalhada so we can move units as we need to. Yeah. We are done. Okay. So I definitely want an assault carrier, somewhere that's got a lot of ground units. Like Sullust. There we go. And I'm going to put a Star Destroyer in... probably Megiddo. And let's also put a TIE Fighter there. The AT-AT goes on Mallister. And I will add a TIE Fighter there as well. I'm going to put another assault carrier on Geonosis. As well as... I thought I had an AT-ST. I guess I didn't. And a Stormtrooper. And then another Stormtrooper on Coruscant. And a TIE Fighter over Toydaria. And done. Wait, I'm trying to make sure I didn't screw myself and give myself too many probe droid cards. No, I actually had the right number. of probe droid cards. Whoopsie. I should not have drawn the last two that I did. You're probably all screaming at me. So fair is fair. I'm gonna put them back in the deck and reshuffle the deck. Alright. Rebellion. I'm getting real antsy at this point. I can't take the risk. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick that. And remember, that is just it instantly resolves kind of mission. So that's a perfect thing for General Reekin to do. Because it's not that important for anything else. We're going to build an alliance because there's really no downside to building loyalty. I'm going to put Jan Dodonna back down. Oh, you know what? No, I'm not going to fuck around. I am going to use... He's almost already attempted to resolve this round. Yeah, that's... I need that in my life. And I think that's all the missions I'm going to assign. Empire. Is intercept transmission useful at this point? So let's consider something. He has to give me back any. He has to give me any cards that have an Imperial unit. Which places do I not know about that have an Imperial unit? Well, none. So then this card is actually entirely useless. I think I gather intel again. And that's like the perfect thing to use Colonel Yularen for, so we're going to do that. What else? I'm definitely going to want to use two leaders over here, because I want to check both Dathomir and Dantooine while I'm over there as the Empire. I'll use Imperial propaganda. It's not that thrilling, but it's... No, actually, it's dumb. I almost want to use all of my leaders just for that. So let's consider the possibilities of the Empire. So remember, I don't know where they actually are. There are 6 worlds they could be at right now. Dantooine, Dathomir, Felucia, Mon Calamari, Nal Hutta, and Tatooine. I can easily get to Tatooine this turn. I can just go explore it. Hey, no biggie. I'd get my ass beat if it turned out that was the Rebel homeworld, but it's worth knowing that, and then I can start making other plans as a result. So I can cover Tatooine this turn. I cannot make an attack on Nal Hutta that I would assume would be successful. I mean, if I emptied Kessel, I'd have a reasonable chance. I don't know that I like my chances, though. I don't know that I like my chances. And I definitely can't do anything about Felucia or Mon Calamari this turn. I don't have a strong enough fleet. I wish I had one of those super cool cards where I could sneak units onto a system. Well, if I draw these probe droid cards and I get lucky, I can then commit all my forces to one of these or the other. Assume one of these is the Rebel homeworld. Is there anything I would actually want, any other mission I'd like to do? This would at least trim the deck. I think that's worthwhile. It would at least trim the deck so that I would only draw cards that would be of great use to me. And I will use the Emperor to run that mission. And let's go ahead... no, that's not that great. We'll do this one, see if I can't get like another Death Star started or something. No, I'm just going to save it to move units. Moving units is too important to me this turn. Okay, Rebels get to go first. Are the Rebels going to move their base right away? Is it worth moving the Rebel base right now? Or is it worth being a bit more aggressive? Okay, a Mon Cala cruiser, a Corellian Corvette, 2 Y-Wings, 3 Y-Wings, and 2 X-Wings. Could I wipe out this force at Megiddo? Now keep in mind, if we lose that battle, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And it's against 4 TIE Fighters, a Super Star Destroyer, and a regular Star Destroyer. That's tough. That is really tough. I really don't like my chances. I really don't. Like here, let's talk this through right now. I can absolutely take out this Star Destroyer. I'm pretty confident about that. Punching out a Star Destroyer makes a lot of sense because if I destroyed this ship, they can't even attempt to invade Nalhada. I'm not even sure their attempt would succeed, but they can't even attempt it if they don't have a transport ship. That is a really smart opening move, in my opinion. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to reveal any missions yet. I'm going to use my second best admiral, Han Solo. And we're going to move to Kessel. That's right, friends. Han Solo is going to make the Kessel run. Sort of. And we're going to resolve a space combat. Would the Empire like to commit a leader? I believe this is exactly what Santarfel was made for. Let's get him going, y'all. Suntarfel. Santar is the sound that the Santarans make in Doctor Who. Okay, and then it's 2 and 2. Why am I drawing ground tactics cards? There is no ground battle. Sorry. Because the Empire, the Rebels don't have any units. Alright, friendos. I'm gonna play good intel because it doesn't require me to spend a leader. And that basically means that I know what their tactics cards are. It's a nice little counter to what the Empire, to what otherwise looks like a pretty staggering, almost guaranteed victory for the Rebellion. So I know that their cards are these two. Okay. So each side is gonna roll. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and play Take It Down. That's gonna give me 2 bonus damage. Imperial player. They're going to play defensive formation to block a damage. And then I guess they're going to go ahead and draw another space tactics card and hope they get something that also lets them block more damage, and they do not. Well, that's fine. Okay, so let's get all the damage tokens. Plus 2 more for the Rebels because of Take It Down. We get 2 damage. Okay. So the black hits are basically useless. But the black direct hits are not. So we're going to do direct hit, hit. Before the Rebel player plays this one, the Empire says not so fast, I'm going to block that damage. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Meanwhile, a red hit, we will target the Corvette, because it actually has a better chance of killing that. And we'll target the X-Wing. So then we hit resolve, clear, clear unused damage. And now the Empire has a decision to make. Are they willing to blow a leader to retreat from Kessel? And the answer to that question is Adoy. So they're going to commit Admiral Ozzel. And they're going to take their fleet to Toydaria. Is there a retreat button here? There is not. Okay. So that could have gone better for the Rebels, obviously, but I think it was a worthwhile early move. Okay. We are going to go ahead and use Colonel Yularen. Now, this is going to be really concerning for... I think this is actually worth opposing. Although they don't have anyone that's graded intel. They have Obi-Wan. Because we don't want them to have any chance of sending their entire force at any of our leaders here. So we're going to send Obi-Wan to Kashyyyk. And it's going to be a 3-on-3 bloodbath of dice. Not blood. The Empire got 2 hits, but the Rebels got a special. The mission fails. So that is very annoying for the Empire, but they'll survive, probably. The Rebels are going to now... The Rebels have the best possible combat leader in a naval battle. Namely... Admiral Akbar. But remember, I can't use Admiral Akbar. I have to use Dodonna as my leader. Oh, poop. Oh, this is a nail biter. I really don't know what to do. I don't know if it's smart to go after this fleet before it gets a chance to decide where to go. Now, stopping this mission is huge. They're not going to get any extra intel about where we might be. Let's try to delay a bit, and let's attempt to get Rebel loyalty somewhere. I guess let's go to Alderaan, and then the Empire is like, yeah, whatever, do what you want. And they're like, cool. Done. The Empire. We're going to try intercept transmission. And we're going to attempt this in Alderaan, which is newly in Rebel system. And they have no way to oppose this. Okay. So the Rebel player now draws 8 cards out of the probe deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Does Felucia have an Imperial unit? It does not. Does Tatooine have an Imperial unit? It sure doesn't. Does Kessel have an Imperial unit? It does. So Kessel gets handed to the Imperial player. Mon Calamari? Nope. Naboo? Yes. So you get Naboo. Toydaria definitely has Imperial units. Quite a few in point of fact. And then Endor is no more. Do I turn that over? Nope, it has to contain an Imperial unit. Okay. So these others all get shuffled back into the deck. And shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Done. Okay. Rebels. If the Empire's gonna make a move, they're gonna have to make it soon. So I'm gonna activate no, I'm not. Just kidding. That's the mobilization space. That's contingency plan. I really don't know what to do here. I really do not know what to do here as the rebels. Run me something here. Move up to 5 units from one system to the rebel base space. Okay. Oh, I think I misread that last time I read that. Yeah. Here's the thing. If we somehow won this battle over Megiddo, the rebels would win the game. Because relocating the rebel base, which, by the way, remember, once you pass, you can't unpass. But the risk is, if this attack fails, and it well might fail, the rebel base is going to be really poorly defended. But remember, they need ground units. And they have some. They've got 3 stormtroopers and an ATST. If I pass, and the Empire goes to Dantooine, I have an important advantage. I get to use Admiral Akbar. Because if I can defeat the naval portion of the battle, I'm fairly confident the ground battle won't be a big deal. The rebels' default should always be do as little as possible, right? Moving the rebel base is really dangerous, though. It's really dangerous, because I have to pick one of the 4 cards that's been assigned to it. Already attempted to resolve this round. I need the Empire to commit. And right now they have no reason to commit yet. And so... Oh my gosh, am I thinking of passing? Look, here's the thing. Killing a Super Star Destroyer is really hard. It takes 6 hits to take it down. I don't think I can risk it. I don't think I can risk the assault. I can move the X-Wings just for the fact of doing something that doesn't involve me committing to an action. Like, I could go defend Rhodia, and that is at least somewhat helpful. So I guess I'll use Chewie to do that. We'll move these X-Wings here. Okay. Empire's turn. Now remember, I can't use Boba Fett to move units, so I really only have 3 leaders that I can move this. 3 fleets I can move this turn. So, we're going to take a gamble using the weakest of my leaders, General Tog, and we're going to go to Tatooine, and we're going to take the assault carrier, and frankly, all of the stormtroopers. We scan for the rebel base, and it is not there. Okay. Turn complete. They have 2 more leaders they can use to move units, and they could easily send forces to both Dantooine and Dathomir. It would weaken their chances of succeeding. Man, I am really torn here. So, here's why I'm so torn. If we win this battle, or if we even cause enough damage that they can't go to both planets, and we'll get to build more units, right? Oh yeah, we've got a Mon Cala cruiser and an X-Wing coming. Game. I think I have to do it. I think I have to. I don't have another option. Fuck. I can just sit and wait and hope that they go to Dathomir and not Dantooine. If they do, yes, they'll know that I'm not on Dathomir, and that'll basically mean Dantooine is fucked next turn. However, I have this. If at least 6 systems have rebel loyalty, I get a reputation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The rebel player will win this game unless somehow the Empire took 2 loyalty away from them, which they're not gonna. They're not gonna bother with that. So knowing that they win the game, as long as they don't lose the game, attacking no longer makes sense. So we're going to pass. Right? Yes, we're going to pass. Okay. Now, this is the most important decision in the game. I can divide my forces and send a piece of it to Dathomir and a piece of it to Dantooine. Or we could shove everything we've got into one attack. And remember, we have to win the ground battle. The space battle is great, but if we win the ground battle, we win the game. Then we've got 4 troopers and the ion cannon, which I think reduces... Yeah, it's 2 fewer red dice. But here's the big problem. I, as a role player, know that the base is on Dantooine. I, as the Imperial player, don't know that. So what's a smart play? Well, if we use a leader for 2 different places, well, let's say we need to send at least 1 ground unit, right, to reveal it. That then reduces the chances of us making the attack. Okay. Friends, I think there's only one fair way to do this. I need to roll a die. I think that's the only fair way for me to determine which system to attack. Because I'm prejudiced. I know that the rebels are on Dantooine. And I know that it would be super freaking cool to have a big scary battle at the end of it. But in real life, the Imperial player would not know which system to go for. Hell, the Imperial player might believe that Mon Calamari or Nal Hutta or Felucia are the actual rebel base. And remember, I can't attack Nal Hutta because I used the leader to retreat there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to use Grand Moff Tarkin. I think this is the fairest way to make this decision. To go to Bothawi, and we're going to take everything in Mallister and send it to Bothawi. Star Destroyers carry 6, right? Yeah. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that turn is now complete. I am now going to roll a die. Because in the Imperial player's head, they know that they have at most 1 more turn to win this game. It makes sense to go all in on one of those worlds or the other. I'm going to roll the dice. So 1 Imperial die. If we roll 1 through 3, I'm going to go to Dantooine. If I get 4 through 6, I'm going to go to Dathomir. And I just realized there's no numbers on these dice. God damn it. That was a stupid thing to say. Okay. New plan. Here we go. Miscellaneous. Here we go. 1 U.S. quarter. Heads, we go to Dantooine. Tails, we go to Dathomir. I'm literally just hitting F, sorry. Okay. Heads, Dantooine. Tails, Dathomir. Heads, we go to Dantooine. Okay. So, Darth Vader goes to Dantooine and takes everything with him. And the rebel base has been revealed. Oh my. Oh, did I grab everything from my Guido? I did. Okay. The rebels now have a very difficult decision to make, except they don't have one. They're going to commit Admiral Akbar. Oh my. Okay. Ooh. Now, the ion cannon cannot be destroyed, I don't believe. I think it's basically just, it doesn't roll anything. It just makes life harder for... Oh no, it can actually take damage. That's actually an interesting FAQ. If the ion cannon is the only thing left... Okay, combat. Okay, it's Rise of the Empire. Okay. I'm looking here to see if ion cannon... Alright. So, I don't see anything. It does count as a ground. It has a health value. I'm assuming that means that the Empire does have to actually kill the ion cannon. Okay. So, first things first, we're each gonna get our tactics cards. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, space battle comes first. Oh, automatically the ion cannon does that. Nice. Alright. Do we wish to play any space tactics cards? Maybe. What about you? We'll see what we roll. Okay. So the rebel player has 3 specials. First things first, he's going to draw 2 ground tactics. And then he's going to activate the onslaught to deal 1 damage to up to 2 different ships. We're going to draw our space tactics cards 1 at a time. I'm hoping for something that lets me reroll. Nope. And nope. Okay, so we're going to add 2 extra damage here. We're going to go 1, 2, get, and get. Okay, we have a red direct hit, a black direct hit, and a black hit. Taking down the Corellian Corvette probably makes the most sense. Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to do... no. Yeah, hit the X-Wing. And then let's punch out this Corellian Corvette. I am then going to play defensive formation to block... No, I'm going to use outmaneuver so that I can actually block up to 2 damage. They don't have a way to block damage, so that's fine. Okay, we're going to take out the Star Destroyer. I think that makes the most sense. It's the hardest thing to kill. 2... And this is... Oh no, it's 1 to 2 damage to 1 of 2 ships. We're actually going to punch out 2 TIE fighters then. And then we get some regular old black hits. And the Imperial player, somewhat shockingly, actually chooses to soak the damage to the... We're going to protect... Oops. We're going to remove... God damn it. We're going to remove the damage from the 2 TIE fighters with our blocking of 2 damage. So we're going to hit resolve. And resolve. And clear. And clear. Now we do a ground unit battle. So that's going to be ground and ground. Yeah, let's roll some dice here. Okay, they get 3 hits, but they're all black hits, which means... oh, they could play 2 critical hits and kill the ATST. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to play both of these. So we're going to get the damage. Get the damage. And then they get 2 bonus damage. 1, 2. We're going to use Concentrate Fire before we do anything else, and we're going to re-roll these 2 dice. That's a little better. And then get damage, and they get another special. They're going to choose to block a damage, and they're going to use their special card here. They're going to draw 2 cards from the Ground Tactics deck. And then they're gonna... Ooh. Oh, damn. Oh, bombardment could wipe out the ion cannon. But if I'm not blocking damage, I'm gonna soak 5 hits already. Yeah, I need to do this. So that's going to cost, so that's going to let me block 3 damage, because I had already played defensive formation. and so I'm going to move you all over to blocked, just so that I remember that it's blocked. Okay. So the Empire does 1 black direct hit and 1 regular hit. As much as I'd like to hit the ion cannon, it doesn't matter if the rebel troopers survive. Because they can hurt me back. The ion cannon cannot. Meanwhile, they get to assign 2 damage to anything they like. They'd be stupid not to kill the ATST. So then we resolve damage and resolve damage. And then we're going to hit clear unused damage, clear. Clear unused damage, clear. Okay, back to the space battle. So we're gonna do space, space, and we're gonna do 1 roll. And 1 roll here. Okay, I'm going to use one of my specials to go ahead and play Unstoppable Assault. No blocking damage, you rebel scum. Yeah, they're going to play Brilliant Strategy, and they're going to make sure to draw 2 ground attack cards. Because here's the thing, if they lose the space battle, it doesn't matter. If they lose the ground battle, that is extremely bad. Okay. So now let's get some damage here. And over here. Oh, and he had 2 specials. He's going to go ahead and draw a ground attack card too. A ground tactic card too. Because that's the one that really matters. Okay. So now I get to assign some damage. They're going to want to punch out the Star Destroyer. Which is easily done. And then they're going to assign 2 more damage to the Super Star Destroyer. That. We don't have any black direct hits, so we might as well do red direct hit to the cruiser. And then to the Mon Cala cruiser, and then we're gonna do... We're just gonna wreck the Y-Wings. Those are the most dangerous things that they've got. Okay. Resolve damage. And resolve damage. And clear. And clear. Okay. This is a very, very tight window here. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to draw 1 ground tactic card using my special card. I'm going to choose to do that first. Okay. They did not get a hit. And yes, they could play Onslaught. But that's not really going to help them very much. Because I can do 1 damage to a Stormtrooper, but they could potentially prevent that damage. I almost think Dig In or Concentrate Fire makes more sense. Or we could just save this card for a better turn. Because I know he can't hurt me either, most likely. So the Imperial player would basically say, because remember, you don't have to block damage till after. Wait, remind me. Do we block damage after it's been assigned or before it's been assigned? Because this is important. It basically is going to determine whether or not. Here we go, combat. Okay. So it's after the damage is assigned. So basically, right now there is no damage to assign from either player. Because you're supposed to play the other tactics cards before. No, after you roll is when you get to play it. Okay. So the Empire player, would he play a... No, because he has to play a block card. He doesn't have to decide. Only the Rebel player has to decide. And he has to decide... you know what he's going to do? He's going to draw a tactics card. A ground tactic card. And he's going to draw another ground tactic card. No, I can't re-roll the dice once I've used them, and I have used them, so this is a possibility. But that actually ends the ground combat. And next we go back to the Battle of Space. And we roll... Okay, we got a blank, 3 black hits, and a special as the Empire. So let's do get damage tokens, just so I can see here. That's almost up take down the Super Star Destroyer. That's actually kind of scary. Because his damage has to be assigned first, and then you get to block it. And I actually can't block, because I don't have a second space card. So I'm actually going to draw a space card. And then I'm going to play Outmaneuver and Concentrate Fire. And what that's going to do, it's going to only block 2 damage. So, I mean, he's going to pick, obviously, killing the TIE. He's going to pick this. And then those 2 count as blocked. I do 3 regular black hits. I could only hit 1 thing with those, which is the X-Wing. Because the Rebel transport counts as a red unit. So that's what happens in the space battle. Resolve and resolve. And then clear unused and clear. Clear unused and clear. Okay. Next, we roll that beautiful beam footage. Okay, so it is a direct hit and a hit. They did not get a special, so they can't play any of these cards. they can play dig in order to prevent damage, or they could just re-roll both dice and hope to get a special. Because if they get a special, they can stop them from blocking damage, and as long as they get another hit... Yeah, I think they're going to start by doing Concentrate Fire, and they're going to re-roll this blank die. We're just going to see what this gets us. We got the special we needed. Next we play Unstoppable Assault. Damage cannot be blocked. They do get a direct hit, which is fun and all, but unfortunately for the Empire, that's not enough. So yeah, they kill a rebel trooper, but they kill a stormtrooper. Resolve. We now do a space battle. Because there is still a... No, because if they don't have any ground units, they can't do anything. Go ahead and roll. And roll. Well, that's annoying. And most of that damage can't be used. That's real annoying, actually. Like, all this firepower, and the only thing I can do is hit the Mon Cala cruiser again, or hit the Rebel transport. So clear the unused damage. Just clear, and then you're going to resolve. And resolve. Now, the rebels cannot choose to retreat. The Empire could, but they have no reason not to. They have no reason to. Because even if they killed all the rebel ground forces, it would not be enough to win the battle. Because they don't have ground forces of their own. Let me very specifically read what winning the game means. Oh, if there are Imperial units in the Rebel basis system, and there are no Rebel units in the system. So I don't have to have ground units there. I just have to make sure they don't have any units. So there's still a very small chance that the Empire could win. Namely, if the Empire wipes out the Rebel fleet, and then gets the cards that let you bombard the ground. So we're doing another space battle. Let's fucking go. Please roll. And roll. Okay, so the Empire got 2 direct hits and 2 regular hits. The Rebels got a direct hit and a special. They're going to take a space tactic card. Deal a damage. Hell, they'll do that for sure. So, we're going to pick get damage tokens, plus you get an extra one. Is Superstar Destroyer 6 damage to kill? Yeah. And that. However, they got a direct hit. And a black direct hit. So we're going to resolve damage. So they did destroy the Super Star Destroyer. That's pretty bonkers. But I did take their cruiser out. And now I think it's actually official that the Empire can no longer win. Because there's no Space Tactics card that lets you kill something on the ground with a TIE Fighter. I don't think. But we'll see what happens here. We're going to do Space Dice again. 1 black die. You get Space Dice. You get no dice, actually. So basically, I just keep rolling until I kill the transport. So that's fun. It is a special, so I will draw a Space Tactic card. And I'm just going to go ahead and play Critical Hit. And I get to assign a damage directly to that. And I hit Resolve. So, I'm going to really quickly check something about Space Tactic cards. Is there one that lets you do bombardment using only a black ship? There is not. So we return to Dantooine. What the heck happened? It just couldn't find the ground tactics cards. That's... Oh, I see. What a brutal freaking fight. What an absolutely brutal fight. Like, right now, there is a Rebel Trooper, an Ion Cannon, and 1 TIE Fighter. And here's the thing, the Imperial player has to pass. He doesn't have a choice, because Boba Fett can't do anything by himself. Oh, man. A couple lucky die rolls, one way or the other. Oh, man. So we're going to do pass. Can a Rebel player complete an objective? They sure can. And they play popular support. There are 6 systems with Rebel loyalty. That earns them 1 reputation. The Rebel player does need to discard cards from his hand. He's going to discard both the Hidden Fleets, because they don't really matter at this point. The Imperials need to discard a mission. Let's just discard Imperial Pocket. It doesn't matter, because as soon as we're done discarding, the Rebels are going to win the game anyway. Rebel victory detected. Oh, that was frustrating as the Imperial player, but it's totally legit what happened. The Rebels have won the game. So congratulations to the Rebel scum. Oh well. I hope you've enjoyed this game. I know this took 3 full episodes, and hopefully I didn't make any big mistakes. If I did, I hope you commented to let me know. In hindsight, I think the biggest mistake I made was not noticing the probe cards and updating my probe map earlier. Otherwise, I would have had another turn or two to focus more heavily there. And I hope it didn't feel too cheap to you. The problem with playing this game solo is that you're always going to know where the rebel base is. Unless you deliberately choose not to know where it is. Which means the rebel player doesn't know either. So, I did the best I could. I hope you still enjoyed the series, even if it did feel... Like, it basically came down to a coin flip, right? I could have sent everything I had to Dathomir instead of Dantooine, and then that would have just been it. What a game, though. I really like this game. I like it a lot. And every time I think there's a part of it that would annoy me, there's like 10 other parts that just make it incredible. I mean, the victory completely came down to dice rolling. And good tactic cards drawing. And even with Darth Vader. And the edge in the ground battle. The Empire just didn't have enough units. Add one AT-AT to that battle, and it's a walk for the Empire. And I'm sure there were plenty of times I could have built, the AT-AT on my Guido when I still had it. But I didn't. And there's not really anyone to blame for that except myself. I made a bad tactical choice because I wasn't sure I'd even find the rebel base this turn. The rebels were surprisingly aggressive in this campaign. Much more in my playthroughs. The rebels tend to be a lot more passive. But, like, taking Felucia, damaging Seleucami, all from Mon Calamari, ended up being really beneficial. These 3 X-Wings were just enough to annoy the Imperial player. Because he couldn't build units because of where they were spread out. That is the core of what the rebels have to do, and it worked really, really well. We never did save Mon Mothma. I never got the one mission card I really, really wanted as the Empire. Do we have Interrogate Leader this time? No, we don't. Where's the rest of the Imperial mission deck? Oh, it's over here. Yeah, let me show you the card I was looking for. Here it is. Interrogation. No, not Interrogation. It is called Interrogation Droid. This card is one of the most powerful weapons that the Empire has. There are very few cards more powerful than this, because if you manage it, they have to name 3 systems, one of which has to be the Rebel base. And they don't know what probe droid cards that the Empire has already received. So that can be... This is the card I was hoping for as the Empire. The other card I wanted to show you before I actually give my final thoughts about this game is an objective in the Rebel deck. This one. Death Star plan. This is the only way to kill a Death Star. So you basically can keep trying to kill the Death Star. And it's 2 reputation if you do it. Which is pretty amazing. Oh, we actually drew another one too. Neat. But I really like this game a lot. It's the perfect example of a true asymmetric war game, in my opinion. War of the Ring is really close, and I think War of the Ring is the better war game because of all the things you can do to affect your success in battle, and the fact that you can win the game without winning any battles. But what makes this game extra special is the hidden movement part. And yes, War of the Ring has hidden movement too. But this game just takes it to the next level. All the units feel very different and have very clear objectives and uses. I love how the rebels have so much flexibility and how they get to run their armies. Because look at the chart, a triangle is any one of 3 ships. And that's just really, really cool. I like how every planet feels unique and has different reasons for one side or the other to go after them. It's kind of hard to get excited about somewhere like Alderaan or Felucia because all you get out of it is just one trooper. Whereas you saw how desperately we fought to defend Mon Calamari and Utapau, both of which let us build units more regularly. I love the leader system. I love how every game is different because you're going to get different leaders each time. But more importantly, I love the advanced cards. I really, really enjoy how they each make the leaders feel even more special. I really do. And the fact that you get different leaders every game really affects your strategy. Admiral Akbar for the Rebels was the best naval leader that either side ever had. Which is pretty bonkers. Darth Vader didn't spend a lot of time in combat till the very end there. Boba Fett is such an interesting character because he can't lead an army or a navy, but you can use him for different things. They would have won the game last turn if Boba Fett hadn't stopped Han Solo from leading a rebellion on Coruscant. And if that doesn't scream Star Wars to you, if that doesn't like tickle whatever part of your body loves Star Wars, then I don't know what will. But the idea of how many of these dice rolls were weighty and mattered. Now, on the downside, and it's a pretty minor downside, but this game is random. It's not completely luck-based, but there's a lot more luck in this game than there is in a game like War of the Ring, or more importantly, like a proper war game like Paths of Glory, for instance. Those games are both way more skill-based. And if you're somebody that really likes games that are based purely on skill, this is not the game for you. There's a lot that does mitigate some of the dice luck, but this is a Fantasy Flight game. They all tend to be fairly based on luck. I would say this game is probably 60% skill, 40% luck. I think that's a fair summation of it. But the most important decisions are skill. I cannot stress that enough. Because what's the single most important decision in the entire game? Where the rebel player starts his base. So let's talk about that. There is very, very little incentive for the rebel player to ever go anywhere but a remote system to put the rebel base there. Because the populated systems are natural targets for the Empire, even when they're not looking for the base, because it means that their army and navy get bigger. To that end, I have never played a game of this where I've seen the rebel player go anywhere but a remote system. Because it's too damaging if you go to a populated system. Especially going somewhere like Mon Calamari. Because that's a really valuable system because it lets you build either Star Destroyers or Mon Cala cruisers. You don't want to put the rebel base there because it's such a natural target. I do like the advanced setup better than the base setup. The base setup, you basically have the units and rebel loyalty and specific systems, and it's whatever. So that's a bit... I do like the advanced setup better, plus you also get the more powerful leader cards. We never got to use Chewie to rescue anybody. That's a shame, but whatever. The battles can bog down, but when they bog down, it's because they're so meaningful. Like, that last battle over Dantooine was the longest battle of this campaign, and it deserved it. It deserved it, without hesitation. So I said the most important decision in the game is skill, and that's whether or not where to put the rebel base. The second most important decision of the game is one that comes up over and over and over again. Do you oppose a mission? You will only ever have a maximum of 8, maybe 9 leaders in the game, because there's a couple of cards that let you get bonus leaders. That's all you'll ever get. And so every leader you commit to a mission can be committed to moving units. And I think you notice throughout most of the game that for the most part, the rebels were using units for leaders for missions, and the Imperials using them to move units around. That is the other decision that is purely skill. It is deciding how to allocate your resources. Now, the outcomes of those missions might be pretty luck-based. And the outcomes of battles are definitely luck-based. Because there's nothing stopping you from rolling a handful of blanks. And there's not much you can do if that happens to you. Equally, there's nothing stopping you from rolling a handful of direct hits. Or anything in between. But what makes this game important in terms of battles is that who wins battles doesn't always matter. It matters, obviously, when you get to the rebel base. But you can mitigate that luck by just making sure you have more dice and by using your tactics cards intelligently. If this game did not have tactics cards, I think the game would be a lot worse. It would take the game from a solid A to, I think, a C+. I just think the luck would feel too punishing at that point if you didn't have the tactics cards and ways to mitigate that luck. But that is the game. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go, besides what game is coming next, which I'll mention here in a minute, is does this game feel unbalanced? Yes. I'm going to tell you why it feels unbalanced. It feels unbalanced because the rebel player just has to not lose. The less aggressive you are, the fewer dice rolls you make, and therefore the less your... the less luck is going to play a role in your victory. So I do think the rebel player has an advantage because of that fact. Because the very nature of the rebel player's game is to be as passive as possible and hope, to a certain extent, which is very thematic, obviously. It's called A New Hope, for God's sake. And hope that the rebel player doesn't lose the base. Now, at times, it can be frustrating to play the rebels because you don't know what you can do. But I do think the rebels have that baked-in advantage because the most important decision of the game is the one that they make. Now, when you get certain objective cards matters a huge amount. It matters so hugely. And knowing that that Coruscant card exists is what convinced me to put a unit on Coruscant. Because otherwise there's no reason to go there. Because you can never lose Coruscant as the Empire. That said, this is still very much a winnable game for either side. I mean, it literally came down to the battle at the end of the game, and I'm sure I made mistakes with both sides. Hopefully not rules mistakes. I'm talking about strategic mistakes. I'm sure you've probably been yelling at your computer screen saying, "How dare you, Avi? How could you be so stupid?" And that's totally realistic. I'm fine with that. But the most important rule that you can overlook is the fact you cannot move units out of a system with a leader in it. This stops the Empire from daisy chaining. And that, if that rule is done incorrectly, and I know this very specifically because when my friends and I played it on Tabletop Simulator, I missed that rule, it becomes a cakewalk for the Empire. Because then they can just chain these massive moves, jump from basically one part of the galaxy to the other very, very quickly, and all cost them as leaders. And so the Imperial play just doesn't bother with missions at that point. But the fact that it is difficult for the Empire to move is, again, very thematic and helps mitigate their strength, which is just... They always have something to do, and every planet they take makes it easier for them to win the game, because they get more stuff. There was a lot of rebel loyalty thrown around in this game, and if I were to play this game again, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive about opposing rebel loyalty. But so I do think the rebel player has an advantage because of that key first decision. But I guess I should also say the rebel could also have a huge disadvantage. If they pick a bad planet, or they just get really unlucky because the Imperial player plays a masterful game. If the Empire figures out where the rebel base is early enough, the rebels can't win the game. Because the Empire can just pour units onto the field in a way the rebels just can't. Such an interesting twist to the game. But at the end of the day, I love this game. I would play this game, maybe not every single day, but I would definitely play it pretty much any time somebody asked me to play it. Assuming I didn't have like life things happen or whatever. Because every game is different. There's 2 expansions, if you are so inclined with such things, which are called Rise of the Empire, and what's the other expansion called? It's Rise of the Empire and Wider Front Lines. And I don't know what they added to the game because we've never bought the expansions, but it's always something that I would consider if I were playing this game again. So that's it for Star Wars Rebellion. Next week, we're going to be playing a very different kind of war game. It's not even a real war game. It's more a strict area control game called Bleeding Kansas, which is about the fight between the pro and anti-slavery forces in the state of, shocker, Kansas. So that'll be coming up next week. Until then, though, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough. Do leave comments down below, especially point out any strategies where I made mistakes. Because I'm always interested in getting better. And again, if I made any rules mistakes, please let me know. Because then the next time I play this game, I won't make the mistake again. But until next time, this has been Avguardian. Thank you for watching. And may the Force be with you.